Welcome back to the channel where we remember the stars who once brought magic into our lives, the faces who made us laugh, think, and feel something real. Today, we revisit Moonlighting, the groundbreaking television series that redefined what a dramedy could be, full of sharp wit, raw emotion, and undeniable chemistry between its unforgettable leads. But as the years have gone by, some of the incredible talents who helped build that world have sadly left us. Whether they appeared for a season or just a single episode, every actor added something special to Moonlighting, something that stayed in our hearts long after the screen faded to black. In this video, we remember those beloved cast members who are no longer with us. Reni Santoni, the unforgettable American actor who brought humor, heart, and grit to every role he played, has sadly left us. He passed away on August 1, 2020, at the age of 81, after battling cancer and enduring several health problems in his final years. He died in hospice care in Los Angeles with his beloved son Nick by his side, who had been his greatest support through the most difficult times. Reni's legacy spans over 5 decades, with more than 100 film and TV credits, but to many fans, he'll always be remembered as Poppy, the loud, messy, and hilariously unhygienic restaurateur on Seinfeld. His performance in that small role made a massive impact, turning him into a fan favorite. But his path to fame started much earlier. Born in New York City on April 21, 1939, to a family of Corsican and Spanish descent, he began in the world of off-Broadway theater, even writing his own play Raisin Hell in the Sun in 1962. He made his screen debut in The Pawnbroker and soon caught the eye of Carl Reiner, who cast him as the lead in Enter Laughing, a semi-autobiographical film about a young man chasing his dreams of becoming an actor. Though the film didn't turn him into a major star overnight, it showcased his charm and promise. Just a few years later, Reni gave one of his most iconic performances as Inspector Chico Gonzalez in Dirty Harry, playing Clint Eastwood's new partner. He was the college boy with a sociology degree who had to earn Harry Callahan's respect, and his delivery of the line, "No wonder they call him Dirty Harry, always gets the S end of the stick," became legendary. Throughout the 80s and 90s, he showed incredible range, from playing Detective Tony Gonzalez in Cobra opposite Sylvester Stallone, to appearing in Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid with Steve Martin, to dramatic roles in Bad Boys, The Package, and even voice work in Dr. Dolittle. On television, he was everywhere from Hill Street Blues, Miami Vice, and Quantum Leap to recurring roles in Murder One, and of course, a guest spot in Moonlighting, where his charisma fit right into the show's stylish and witty world. Off-screen, Reni was described by those closest to him as gentle, wickedly funny, and a brilliant improviser, someone very different from the tough characters he so often portrayed. He had a long relationship with actress and director Betty Thomas, and remained close with his family, including his wife Lisa James and his sister Amelia. When news of his death broke, fellow actors, friends, and fans flooded social media with heartfelt tributes, remembering him not just for his roles, but for the joy he brought into their lives. Reni Santoni may not have been a household name, but his work touched millions. He was the kind of actor who made every role, big or small, feel real and unforgettable. His death is a painful loss to the world of film and television, but the characters he created, the laughter he sparked, and the legacy he built will continue to live on. Among the many beloved actors who graced the screen in Moonlighting, one unforgettable talent we lost is George Coe, a remarkably gifted and deeply respected American actor whose contributions to stage, screen, and television spanned more than 5 decades. Born George Julian Cohen on May 10, 1929, in Jamaica, Queens, New York, Coe was a Navy submariner during the Korean War before discovering his passion for acting and training at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. He began his Broadway career in 1957 and went on to appear in original productions of musicals like Mame, Company, and On the 20th Century. To many, he was best recognized as one of the original, not ready for primetime players in the premiere episode of Saturday Night Live in 1975, bringing maturity and comedic contrast to the youthful chaos of the early cast. But his career went far beyond SNL. He delivered memorable performances in films like Kramer vs. Kramer as the head of Dustin Hoffman's ad agency and The Stepford Wives, as well as voicing Wheeljack in Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Perhaps one of his most beloved later roles was that of Woodhouse, the hilariously loyal and tragically downtrodden butler in the animated series Archer, whose loss became a major plotline following Coe's passing. On television, Coe was a versatile fixture, with appearances in Grey's Anatomy, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The West Wing, Gilmore Girls, Bones, and notably in Moonlighting, where his natural authority and comedic timing fit seamlessly into the show's stylish, offbeat world. Beyond acting, Coe was a champion for performers' rights, serving on the National Board of the Screen Actors Guild for over a decade and earning the Ralph Morgan Award for his dedication. Tragically, on July 18, 2015, Coe passed away at the age of 86 in Santa Monica, California, after a long and courageous battle with illness, including lymphoma, which he had lived with for nearly 20 years. He was surrounded by love, survived by his wife Susan, daughters Amy Bickers and Jennifer Coe, and 4 grandchildren. In an emotional twist of fate, he died on the same day as his The Entity co-star Alex Rocco. For those who knew him personally, Coe was more than an actor. He was a warm, wise, and humble man, admired for his integrity and generosity. For audiences, he was the consummate character actor, the familiar face who always elevated every scene he was in. Whether delivering dry wit as Woodhouse or holding his own in dramatic roles, George Coe left a legacy of excellence, laughter, and quiet strength. His passing marked the loss of a rare kind of performer, one who may not have sought the spotlight, but who made every moment in it unforgettable. Lisa Blount, the talented American actress and Oscar-winning producer, is no longer with us, and her death still leaves a quiet ache in the hearts of those who admired her work and spirit. Best remembered by many for her raw and emotional performance as Lynette Pomeroy in An Officer and a Gentleman, Lisa brought a complex blend of vulnerability and ambition to the screen, earning a Golden Globe nomination and the love of audiences across the world. She also appeared in the hit series Moonlighting during Season 2, playing Toby, a high-class call girl entangled in a case that showed her deep range as an actress. But Lisa was much more than her roles. Born in Fayetteville, Arkansas, she chased her dream from a young age, leaving college early to pursue acting, eventually becoming a familiar face in both films and television. She also embraced horror, with roles in cult classics like Prince of Darkness, earning the label of Scream Queen during the 80s. Later in life, She turned to producing and found extraordinary success alongside her husband, Ray McKinnon, with whom she shared an Academy Award for the short film The Accountant. She also produced and starred in Crystal, a deeply personal project filmed in her home state. Tragically, Lisa suffered from a rare and chronic illness called idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura (ITP), which affects blood clotting, and after 17 years of fighting it quietly, she was found dead in her Little Rock home on October 25, 2010, at the age of 53. Her mother discovered her lying peacefully, clutching her phone, with no signs of foul play, just the silent toll of a disease that had slowly weakened her. Despite her health struggles, Lisa remained active and passionate, working on new projects, performing live, and even remodeling her historic home. Her final screen role was in Randy and the Mob, another collaboration with her husband. In September 2010, just weeks before her death, she was inducted into the Arkansas Entertainers Hall of Fame, a moment that quietly honored a lifetime of resilience, creativity, and unforgettable talent. Lisa Blount wasn't just a performer. She was a fighter, a creator, and a woman who left behind a body of work that still echoes with heart. Richard Belzer, who passed away on February 19, 2023, at the age of 78 at his home in Bezoules, a quiet village in southern France. His final years were marked by a long struggle with circulatory and respiratory issues, and in the end, his body just couldn't fight anymore. He died peacefully, surrounded by the love of his wife, Harley McBride, who had been by his side for decades. Richard Belzer was best known for playing Detective John Munch, a role that became a permanent part of TV history. He first appeared as Munch in Homicide, Life on the Street, and later became a fan favorite on Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, where he portrayed the skeptical, wisecracking detective for over 15 seasons. But what made John Munch unforgettable was how much of Belzer's real personality lived inside that character. His distrust of authority, his biting humor, and his deep, wounded honesty. Munch wasn't just a detective. He was a man carrying trauma, shaped by tragedy, much like Richard himself. Belzer's early life was heartbreaking. He was abused as a child, lost his father to suicide, and later his brother too. That pain never left him, but instead of collapsing under it, he turned to comedy. On stage, he found power in making people laugh, starting as a stand-up comedian alongside legends like Gilda Radner, Bill Murray, and John Belushi. He was part of the original comedy scene that shaped Saturday Night Live in the 70s, and even though he never became a Hollywood leading man, he became something rarer, someone truly unforgettable. Belzer's career spanned radio, stand-up, acting, and writing, with multiple books on conspiracy theories and the government, always reflecting his need to question everything. He was never one to play by the rules, even famously being knocked unconscious by Hulk Hogan during a live wrestling demonstration, and later suing him. In his final years, he stepped away from the spotlight, choosing peace and quiet in rural France. He had no children, but his life was full of love, art, questions, and laughter. His last words reportedly reflected his sharp, rebellious spirit, and fans who loved him knew that even in death, Richard Belzer stayed true to who he was. We lost more than an actor. We lost a voice that stood up for the misfits, the wounded, and the truth seekers. Colleen Dewhurst is gone. The beloved Canadian-American actress, known for her powerful stage presence and unforgettable roles, passed away on August 22, 1991, from cervical cancer at the age of 67 in her farmhouse in South Salem, New York. She refused surgery due to her Christian Science beliefs, choosing instead to spend her final days quietly at home with her longtime partner, producer Ken Marcellet. Colleen had a towering presence, a voice that could both soothe and shake you, and a spirit that lit up every stage and screen she touched. In Moonlighting, she made a memorable guest appearance that captured the depth of her talent, even in limited screen time. But it was her role as Marilla Cuthbert in Anne of Green Gables that made her a household name, especially for a generation who grew up with that story. Millions watched her play the stern but loving woman who helped raise Anne, and her performance was so emotionally honest that people felt like they knew Marilla personally. Colleen was more than just an actress. She was a legend of the stage, winning 2 Tony Awards and 4 Emmys, especially for her fierce portrayals in the works of Eugene O'Neill, a playwright whose tragic female characters she embodied like no one else. Her role as Josie Hogan in A Moon for the Misbegotten is still remembered as a defining performance. Offstage, she was deeply human, strong, caring, and generous to a fault, described by those who knew her as someone who gave more to others than she ever asked for herself. Her stormy yet passionate marriage with actor George C. Scott gave her 2 sons, including actor Campbell Scott, with whom she shared the screen in one of her last films, Dying Young. Her presidency of the Actors Equity Association showed how fiercely she fought for her fellow performers until her very last days. Even after death, her scenes were lovingly woven into Road to Avalia to honor her, as the producers never realized she was terminally ill. Colleen Dewhurst didn't just perform, she lived her roles, carved them into memory, and left a legacy that will never fade. Her life was art, and her death was a heartbreaking loss to the world of theater and beyond.